All right, good morning, guys. I'm gonna bring you along for a little bit of the behind the scenes. What I've got here is a Melling M295 oil pump. There are many ways to install these. I'm just gonna show you the technique that works best for me. Step one is obviously we're just going to install it on here. And this is kind of what you would consider a vane style pump. There is an actual wheel that is driven by the crankshaft that then drives the pump. The housing itself is what makes the pumping happen. And on that, there is the possibility of not having it centered. So again, there are multiple ways. Some guys will just slap it on, let her eat. Other guys will sit there and find the happy spot and torque it down. This technique I've been doing for a long time and had a lot of luck with it, and kind of takes the guesswork out of it. What we're going to actually do now, so I've got the bolts started. We're going to take this front faceplate off. I believe these are T30, yep, T30 Torx fit. Just a handful of them. Set these down here. We're going to remove this front cover. Now, we've got the actual rotor portion of it that's driven by the crankshaft pulley. That's the gear we pressed on with the timing chain kit. Externally, there is also another wheel. As the oil gets pumped up from the engine, it gets pressurized and pushed out to all the service ports as we go. Now, this cannot be centered. There is a possibility. It could be an issue and it can't be an issue. It's kind of up to what is your comfort level. And like I said, this has never done me wrong. So I will pull the outer cover out. So you've got that version right there. And what you can do is get her installed back in, which it may give you a little bit of fits. And you get yourself a set of really small feeler gauges. And what you can do is you can actually walk the gauges in from one direction. Then I've got a matching feeler gauge of the same size that I'm going to feed in on the other direction. Now this is really tight. These are super tight tolerances. And all I'm trying to do is get a decent amount of this gauge walked all the way around. And I've kind of hit a spot right there where it likes where it's at. So we're gonna leave that just like so. What the feeler gauges are doing is they're semi-self-centering. So if I've got the same thickness gauge on the top as I do on the bottom, you're gonna have your best bet of it being self-centered. Another item I like to do is anytime there's an internal bolt, even though you're torquing it, just a little extra insurance, get some Loctite on it. So we're going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on this one. And carry on the rest. Got the furnace shut off and the air compressor off. Hopefully it doesn't kick on. Should say the furnace. I turned her way down, but when that bad boy kicks on, boy, it's loud. All right, that's all four with Loctite. All right, now what we're gonna do, since we know we're still centered with the gauges, we're gonna go ahead, get those snugged up. All right, torque spec for this one. I've already got the torque wrench set. Oil pump to cover bolts. I'm sorry, oil pump to engine block bolts is what we're working with, our 18 foot-pounds. extra insurance. All right, we know we got those guys sent home. Now at this point, you're gonna pull out all your feeler gauges. Now I have come across a few different oil pumps that sometimes need a slightly thicker feeler gauge, so I've got a couple different ones there, but most of the time that combo works. Now, you've seen in our other videos, we like to prime our engines with that homemade oil primer, but it's not a bad idea. Put an extra little bit of assembly lube on these vanes. And then just kind of snake her back in there. All right, grab a cleaning rag. All right, so now we know our pump is self-centered. What we're gonna do next is put our front cover back on the oil pump. Again, internal bolt, a little bit of extra insurance to make sure nothing ever happens. And we're gonna line the pump cover back up and start installing these bolts. So there are a few other tricks that you can do. Like I said before, this is a Melling oil pump. It's an M295, which is a stock replacement for this 03 LM7. Sometimes the pumps will come with an extra spring. What that spring will do, if you pull out the factory spring in the pump that's located right here, there's a little Allen plug, I believe. You can swap that spring out and you can convert a pump over to a high pressure. This particular build, I'm not too worried about a high pressure. It's more of a street rod or a cruiser style, shooting for the 400, 420 horse, give or take, with the Cannon spring combo. We don't need all that extra stuff. There are other ways of doing that if you don't actually have the spring. There's all kinds of videos you can get out and look. You can actually take a stock pump. These things are pretty durable. You can clean them up. You can do a little bit of port work. You can add a couple of dimples and some chamfer holes on the pump vanes. I don't generally mess with any of that. I just buy a good quality replacement pump. You can also take the stock spring out if you don't have upgraded spring, and you can shim it, and that'll get you your additional pressure if you choose to. Again, for what we're doing with double secret probation, it's more of a street rod style, good cruiser, plenty of power, super reliable. Not too worried about that. So on this one here, we've got them all run in. Take my adapter off. All right, now they consider these the pump front cover bolts. And on that particular one, oil cover bolts. 106 inch-pounds. So we're gonna come back here, just kind of walk around them. Again, we've got the Loctite on it, a little bit of extra insurance. You get yourself a good quality torque wrench, you're not gonna have any issues, but it makes you sleep easy at night. I like adding Loctite. Make another round. All right, looking good. And boom, we are finished with pump install. A couple little extra notes. Get yourself a good pump from a reputable company. Melling, never had any problems with. We like to buy a majority of our parts from our local Advance Auto. This particular one, I hit up our parts gal Linda, gave her a call. She's the one that makes everything happen. And we got her coming. Let our regional manager Brian know, and he's all excited. He's a car guy. I'm actually looking for our seals that came with it. Might be in the box. Yep, there they are. All right, another special note on this here. Most pumps are going to come with a series of different O-rings. When you open up your package, you need to pay close attention to what style pickup tube you're using. They have different pumps, different pickups, and sometimes the pickup tube has a different diameter. This is the most crucial part about almost any LS engine when you start losing oil pressure. Generally, your pickup tube O-ring has developed flat spots and dried up. So you want to be able to install the appropriate seal. Generally, it's the biggest seal that you can install in it, but Melling has a very good description here as far as what style pickup you have. So right now, I'm still waiting. Hopefully it shows up today for our Holley 302-3 oil pan, and once I know what pickup tube we have, we'll know what O-ring we're going to be running. Other than that, we've got a new oil galley plug popped in and a new barbell on the back. So if you guys are going to do any kind of rebuild at home, before you go to a machine shop, or you do it at home, just clean it up. You want to pull out this plastic barbell with the seal. It's on the back side behind the rear engine cover. And that is a divider for pressurized oil versus, or I should say, filtered oil versus non-filtered oil. And then your front plug comes up here. You want to make sure you get all that stuff out before you either degrease the whole block or send it off to the machine shop. So guys, we're going to call it a day on this portion of it. And that's a quick and easy down and dirty LS oil pump install. Catch you soon.